Boom. It's recording. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? It is 6:05 on March 13th. March 13th, 2024. This is a Grit Oregon club basketball meeting. So if you are here for something else, you're in the wrong place. But I don't think that's the case with anybody here. So welcome. Glad you guys could all make it. Appreciate you guys that could make it last night. I know there is some illness going around here. There is some baseball and track that we're working around, but definitely appreciate you guys that could make it last night in the flesh, physically to the Middleman Jewish Community Center, where we had tryouts. I'm going to turn it over to Jacob. Jacob, give us a little bit about Jacob Bulger. Just for you guys that don't know, is one of our coaches. Jacob was a player at Cleveland High School in Portland and came to Pacific. He's got a great story, played on my team. I was the JV coach, and Jacob played for me. And then he went on and was a two-time all-conference Northwest Conference player in college. And then this year came back for his fifth year, took advantage of the COVID year, but unfortunately had too many concussions and wasn't able to play until senior night. He won the jump ball, got a dunk, and then got subbed out. But he had a great career, obviously made a huge impact, and is now helping coach. This year was the G League commissioner. And if you guys made it to a game at Pacific, you might have noticed the wild man behind the bench, first row, right behind the bench. That was Jacob Bulger. And now you're substitute teaching. Is that right, Jacob? Substitute teaching, going to be an elementary school teacher next year, but this year is coaching for Grit. So Jacob, tell us a little bit about what you saw last night, what you're most excited about this spring, and just kind of introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I'm Coach Bulger. I had a great 5 years at Pacific. I didn't get to play my last my last year due to a concussion. It lasted about 9 months. Head injuries are serious business. We found that out this year, but it was a great learning experience for me in what it means to be a team player. And that's really what we're looking for at Grit. And that's what we saw a lot of last night, I think. And what it means to be a team player is to play your role on the team. And I went from my freshman year having zero role on the team, being an energy guy, getting guys playing on the JV team, sometimes maybe practicing varsity, to being the leading scorer my junior year and my senior year at Pacific. And then going from being the leading scorer back down to having zero impact on the floor. But it's about the impact that you leave in your role on the team, and your ability to keep your head above water in that way and really support your teammates when they need to be supported. So Coach Miner was saying, I was always standing at the end of the bench screaming, trying to get guys energized, keep the bench up, keep the vibes up, because that's what the team needed from me. And so a lot of guys, you don't get to play 25 minutes a game and you get upset about that. Like, play your role and those minutes will come. Like, just do what you do best, and those minutes will come. And that's really the one thing that I learned from this year, not being able to play in my fifth year. But man, tryouts were great last night. A lot better than the first week. I think we had guys returning who just needed to get those jitters out, figure out what we wanted from them, what we expected from them. Get on the same page as the amount of energy that we need in the program. And then just came back in the second week with the addition of some guys who were busy in the first week, still playing in state, stuff like that. It was just energy. It was just energy. Attention to detail was great. Listening to the coaches, getting hyped up about everything. Like, it was just such a great environment. And that's sort of what we want to keep rolling. So yeah, thanks, Coach Miner.
Yeah.
Energy.
Jacob, you got me fired up. Let's go. Let's go. And if you guys don't know, you will learn. Jacob brings the juice, brings energy like nobody I know, unless it's John Willis. John Willis can bring a little energy too for you guys that know Coach Willis. Um, but yeah, like I said, I know there's some of you guys that are still deciding what team you're going to be on. Some of you guys not sure if you want to play in the spring or weighing things out. But GRIT is an acronym. So you see these periods, that means acronym. These letters all stand for something else. So I'm gonna call on Asher. Asher's a returner in the program, so I'm hoping you're not gonna flub this one up and forget. But Asher played at Roseburg High School, played for Grit last spring and summer for Coach Lunt, well, Coach McNabb and then Coach Lunt. Asher, what's the G in GRIT?
It stands for gratitude.
Gratitude. Talk a little bit about what gratitude means to you.
It's like being thankful for like not only the time that the coaches are putting in, but like our parents, because like a lot of times, well, at least for me, they'll drive me up, and there's a lot of like work getting put into it.
Love it. Good answer, Asher. Thanks for being the first one to jump in there. Asher, like I said, played last year, coming from Roseburg. If you guys don't know, Roseburg's about a 3.5 hour drive to the Jewish Community Center to Portland for the tournaments. So I love that you recognize that your parents are sacrificing a lot of time, money for you. That means a lot. So definitely appreciate that you recognize that, because that is something that we don't want to take for granted. Just being thankful in all things that we get to play. I had something come up that yesterday, 4 years ago, the state tournament was canceled. Some of you guys are young, might not remember. The OSAA state tournament was going on, and then you guys aren't that young. You remember COVID. COVID happened, and they canceled and shut it down. So having gratitude, just the fact that we get to be in the gym and play, don't take that for granted. We want you guys to be appreciative and thankful for everything. The other returners couldn't make it, so I'm not gonna, well, Jacob can talk a little bit about resiliency. Jacob, tell us well, I gave it away. I gave it away. So now Jacob's not gonna mess this one up, because Coach Bulger, it would be bad if you didn't know what GRIT stands for, but the I or the R, resilient. Talk about that, Jacob Bulger.
Yeah, I mean, just resiliency is something that exists every day in your life. Just getting up out of bed, making your bed, starting the day well, and not picking up bad habits, right? Like resiliency is doing the little things that you don't really want to do, but that matter, that you need to do, to set good habits, to succeed, to have a good day, have a good practice, have a good day of work, have a good dinner with your family, have a good game on Friday. Like it's just doing the little things that might be difficult, might be boring, might not want to do those things, but will make you better in the long term. And overcoming obstacles that get in your way is a huge part of that. But a big part of resiliency that people don't think about is the little tiny work ethic aspects of it. It's easy to go sit on the end of the bench because you're injured, but it's not easy to take care of your mental health and be resilient in that way. Like, I can't play today, but how does that make me feel? Really, really trying to make yourself better in all aspects of your life when things don't necessarily go your way. It's real easy to smile when you're winning, but it's not real easy to smile when you're losing, and that's a part of it. So, yeah.
Love it. That's interesting. That is a great way to describe it. Bouncing back and overcoming obstacles, whatever's thrown in your way, you need to try to do the best you can to respond. And being resilient, bouncing back after a pandemic and injury, you got to be able to make sure that you are resilient. So we got Coach Hellstrom. I'm going to introduce Coach Hellstrom. He's going to pivot his phone a little bit so that way we can see all of them. But Coach Hellstrom has been a head high school coach in Modesto, California. He's been an assistant high school coach at Liberty, Sherwood, Central Catholic, and is now the assistant college coach at Pacific University. Coach, we're going through the acronym GRIT. We had G as gratitude, we had resiliency. Will you talk a little bit about the I in grit?
There we go. So when we talk about, you know, those sort of things, I'm outside. Like this is wonderful outside. So coach, like, so when we talked about the specific with hold on just a second. I need a second.
No worries. You do what you got to do. It is windy out there. I could hear you, but that's the great thing about technology is he's able, good thing and bad thing. Good thing he's able to join us outside wherever he's at. Looked like a school, but we're all getting together and connecting. When he does get a chance to come back, I'll stall for a second and see if he does join us back. If he wants to join us back and talk about intensity, or I'll talk about intensity and then he can take the T, because when he hops back on, he will be able to talk about the T.
No, I'm back. I'm back with some intensity. Yes. No,
oh.
I thought that in terms of our practice yesterday, we showed that. And I think that when you are about, you know, whatever it is you do, you should have a certain like love and passion and intensity for what you're doing, whether it's, you know, your daily routines, your basketball, your school, your relationships. It should all have something to do with just you having an intensity and just a zest for life. And I think that that's like a huge thing about like just being outside for me today is just like, this isn't, you know, for me, I want to make sure that this is one of the most important things that I do is not only just, you know, take care of myself, but also talk to you about like, hey, the things that we do, we want to have purpose, we want to be driven, and we want to have something where it's like, this is something that's super important to us. So in terms of having that intensity, absolutely. That is a huge part of what you do and who you are. And that normally very much shines forward in everything, every part of your life. So thank you. Thanks for allowing me to say that. And I'm going to pivot this way. I'm going to pivot that way.
No, don't. You're ruining the video. We want to keep it full screen. No, thanks, Coach Hellstrom. Appreciate you hopping on from being outdoors. But yeah, I'm glad that you didn't jump on there and talk about integrity, which is another great word that starts with I, but it is not part of our acronym. So then the T, togetherness. I will talk a little bit about that. We are one program, two teams. We're gonna have 20 players. There's still some people that we're shaking out, deciding on. So we have extended this a little bit, but we want to play together. So we really are going to emphasize this season playing hard. That's intense. We're going to play intense. We're going to play together. And if you do those two things, you guys, play hard and play together, we'll live with the results. Promise you. If you don't play hard or if you don't play together, then we'll have issues. But we want to play together, and that's the T. So toughness, we talked about toughness. What do we want this acronym to be? Do we want toughness? I do like toughness, but I think toughness kind of factors into the whole grit. Grit is one of my favorite qualities, grit and moxie. I want players that have moxie and grit. So those are some of the things that we do talk about. And like Coach Hellstrom said, being intense, we want guys that are passionate, not just about basketball, but about life. I think Hellstrom said like having a zest for life. I love that word, zest. Having a zest for life. So finding what you're passionate about. Hopefully you are passionate about basketball, because if you don't love basketball, you won't make it very far. Certainly not. Kids sometimes say, well, I want to play in college. I like basketball. If you like it, you won't make it. It's too hard. Basketball at the college level is too difficult. So if you just like it, not going to be the right fit for you. So we want you guys to have a little bit of intensity, a little bit of passion, show up with excitement. If you show up and you're kind of like, well, woe is me, you got to check your attitude. You got to check yourself. And if you don't, we will help you with that, because any type of bad body language in our program doesn't fly. Your body language doesn't whisper, it screams. When I was coaching at Southern Oregon University, we had a kid that we were really recruiting. And I like to show up sometimes at games when I'm recruiting in a game that I know the kid's going to get their ass kicked. Obviously, I don't want the players that I'm recruiting to be getting beat every time that they step on the floor, obviously. But I like to see how they handle not winning. How do you handle adversity? How do you handle setback? How do you handle not getting what you want? That speaks volumes way more than how you handle when your team's winning and you're getting. It's easy to be a good teammate when you're winning. It's easy to be a good teammate when you're winning. How do you handle a setback? That says a lot more. So this kid that we were recruiting, I kind of snuck in the gym. He didn't know I was there. He was kind of going through the emotions and warm-ups. He was in his own little world. He had his own headset on, and he was kind of, just doing his own thing. He wasn't part of the team. He wasn't giving high fives. And then he got on the floor and his team got down like 12-0. And you would have thought that somebody kicked his dog. And it was like the first day he found out Santa wasn't real. Like you would have thought this guy had just been like something horrible happened. And we would stop recruiting him. I mean, he was averaging like 26 a game and had a great career at, I won't say what high school, but his high school career was really successful. But we didn't offer him a scholarship because of that game where he didn't think anybody was watching. He didn't think anybody was paying attention. But your body language doesn't whisper, it screams. It screams. So if you have any type of bad body language, that's something that I've talked to some of you guys about. And nothing will drive me more crazy than if you miss a shot and you slump or you pout. And Coach Bulger can tell you one time when he was playing, he came over and had a little bit of bad body language. So I had to correct him. It was probably one of the few times I really lost my composure on a player. But I think Jacob's a better kid now, better young man, because I did tell him in kind of a loud voice with a few words that I won't use now because this is a recorded conversation. Sorry, Hellstrom. Yeah, I forgot to tell you, or hopefully that didn't. He is from the North Pole. Brandon Hellstrom went to the North Pole High School. That's not a joke. That is not a joke. Coach Hellstrom was a North Pole. They're not the Santas. That would be a cool mascot. The Patriots.
We are, yeah.
So Coach Hellstrom, sorry. I guess he probably knows more than anybody if Santa's real or not, since he did go to North Pole High School. But body language, back to that. That's something that we really emphasize is that you guys do next play speed. Think about this one. Your last breath was important, but not as important as your next breath. I know that's pretty deep. That's pretty heavy thought, but your last breath, yeah, you needed it. That last breath was important, but if you don't get the next one, it's not going to matter, right? So good play, bad play, not as important as next play speed. How quickly can you get over the play you just made? Good play. I don't like seeing guys do this stuff where they make a shot, act like you've done it before, either pick up full court press or get your rear back on defense. Coach Bulger, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I can just speak to a little bit about the next play mentality, because it's a huge thing that we focus on at the college level. Because right now y'all are in high school playing and you're going up against like maybe 4 or 5 guys who are pretty good. The entire bench can go in college. Everybody there was averaging 15 plus in high school. Everybody on the bench. So to find little ways to win is what coaches are doing nowadays. And it's all a mental game. It's all mental. If your mental is right, and you can put up 20 and the guy across from you can put up 20, but his mental isn't like yours, guess who's scoring 30 that game? Not him. He's not scoring 30. Right? So something that we say a lot in our program is get out of the bucket or flush it. Flush it is pretty self-explanatory. Flush it. Like right down the toilet. Next play. Whatever. Flush it. Get over it. But get out of the bucket is something that I'm a huge fan of, because it's like a sponge, right? Like if you're a sponge and you got a bucket of water and you're dry and you dunk yourself in the bucket and you just hang out in the bucket there, that water all absorbs into the sponge. And all of these things are kind of getting it at you and in your brain. And then when you take it out, you got to wring it out. It takes a couple minutes to wring you out, right? You got to really focus on getting all that bad vibe out of you. But if you're quick in the bucket and you're out, it takes less than a second. Wring that water out, onto the next play. So when you're running back on defense, and you just miss a layup, and you're running back on defense, and you're hanging your head, and you're pouting, and you're huffing, and you're puffing, you're in the bucket. And the longer you stay in the bucket, the worse you're going to play. And so that's something that we want to train. Like I said earlier, the mental game. You just got to get out of the bucket. You got to flush it. You got to move on to the next play. And that's what we're looking for.
I love that visual. Because think about that. If you're a competitor, if you're a serious competitor and you miss a shot, you should be a little disappointed, right? It's okay to be a little disappointed if you miss a shot. But if you like Coach just said, if you hang out in the bucket, you're not gonna be able to recover as quick. So yeah, you miss a shot, you just got to change your mindset quickly, because you don't want to make one mistake into two. Okay, don't make one mistake into two. If you make a mistake, if you miss a shot, you turn it over, that's a mistake. But if you don't hustle back on defense, that's a second mistake. Don't compound your mistakes. Make a mistake, flush it, let it go, get out of the bucket, whatever you want to say. Like a goldfish, short memory, next play. Like a goldfish, you guys know goldfish have like a 6-second memory. That's why they don't get bored in the fish tank. And every time they see the castle, it's like, wow, look at that cool castle. It's the first time they've ever seen. I don't know how they test a goldfish's memory. So this is somebody else's research, not mine. But like a goldfish, you have to have a short memory, good or bad. But that was kind of what I really wanted to go over tonight, was just body language, not whispering. It screams. If you're going to play with grit, you have to understand that it's about gratitude, resiliency, intensity, togetherness. So we play for the name on the front and the name on the back. I'll say that again, because some people are like, well, we just play for the name on the front. We're all about team. Give me a million breaks, right? Like everybody's got to represent the name on the back of the jersey too. All of you guys, that's something you should be proud of. I know if I put minor on something, I'm not going to half-ass it. Because of my mom, my dad, my brother, I'm not going to embarrass our name. And you can't obviously embarrass the name on the front, because that's something we're going to talk about once we get the teams finalized. Don't do anything that's going to embarrass me, you, or your family. When we're playing, when we're on the road, when we're traveling together, when we're out having lunch as a team after a game, don't do anything that's going to embarrass me, you, or your family. And that's kind of a good thought, because you don't always know what's going to embarrass me or your family. But don't do anything that's going to put us on the front page of the paper or have something like that. But you're going to play for the name on the front and the name on the back. You're going to be representing your family name. These are the uniforms that we have. Everybody, all 20 of us will get your uniform with your name on the back. There won't be players that you meet the day of the game. You know, it's 2 teams, 1 program, 5 coaches, 20 players. So that's what we're going to have, is 20 players. And you really want to play for grit, but also for your last name, because you should be proud of your last name. And I want you guys all to think about that. And when you're going to represent, you're going to have to play with these values. And if you don't think that's the right fit for you, or you don't want that, that's fine. But that's a non-negotiable. If you are getting technical fouls, if you're taunting or talking trash, or you act like you've never made a 3 before and you're celebrating it, that's going to be a little bit embarrassing. Doesn't mean I don't want you guys getting excited. You guys better get excited when a teammate makes a 3. Like, that's why we're going to have these Zoom calls. And once we get the team selected, we're all going to be, this has been more of the Jacob and Miner show, Bulger and Miner show. When we're actually have our team selected, there will be more engagement and interaction between the people in the squares around you. So this is just still kind of an informational meeting still, because there's probably 4 3 or 4 guys on this call that are still kind of shopping teams, figuring things out that we haven't decided who or haven't decided what program they're going to play for. But I want you guys to think about that. Okay. You're going to play for grit, and grit is gratitude, resiliency, intensity, togetherness. If you don't feel like that's something you can represent or don't feel comfortable with that, that's okay. There's lots of programs in Portland, and I'm happy to help. There's good programs, there's bad programs. We try to stay in our lane, right? I don't like to talk about other programs because I'm worried about us, grit, and getting you guys better. Get from where you are to where you want to be. And that's what we're here to help you with. So I love the saying, you know, they say, like, is the grass greener on the other side? I don't know. I don't look at their grass. I'm worried about my grass and getting it greener every day. The grass is greener where you water it, and I want to help you guys water the grass. So these are one of the 3 sets of uniforms. Those all are our team colors. So we don't have any pink uniforms this year, Asher. I know you guys didn't, I don't know if you loved them or not, but you wore the blacks a lot more than the pinks, but the blacks were pretty sweet. And the whites were nice too. But there is a blue set, a black set, and a white set that you'll get this year. But I'm excited. You guys can tell I get fired up. And I'm probably the 4th, maybe the 5th most energetic coach on our staff. Obviously, you guys have met Coach Bolger. Some of you guys know Coach Lunt. He gets really intense. Coach Willis, Mr. Passion himself. Coach Hellstrom, he's got a really loud voice when he wants to. He can make sure that it's booming enough that everybody in the gym can hear, even if there is distractions going on. But yeah, I'm excited about this season. I'm excited about you guys that are in the program already. I appreciate you guys that are still hanging on, that aren't sure if you're in the program. I appreciate you guys that are just checking us out, wanting to get a little more information. So the guys that are on the call that I've kind of invited tonight that we're just kind of getting to meet. I know there's 3 of you guys that are just joining us for the first time. So hopefully we didn't scare you off too bad, because like I said, Coach Lunt, he makes me look sleepy, and I'm a pretty high energy dude. I'm a pretty high energy guy, but Coach Lunt, you guys, if you don't know, he's like a machine, because he has like a 4-hour, or he has like a 3-hour window during the day when he eats. So I've seen him eat twice and I was his assistant coach for 5 years. So like we travel together, and he was just, I'll have a black coffee and water. And then like he eats during this certain window, and he sleeps. He'll text me after I'm in bed and before I wake up. He sleeps probably 4 or 5 hours a night. So he is like a machine. He's 44. He's been a head college coach 18 years. So the leader of the gold team. So like I said, we have gold and silver, 2 teams, 1 program. But Coach Lunt was a head coach at 26, maybe 25 when he got announced that he was the head coach. But he's been a head coach for longer than most of you guys on this call have been alive. So he knows what he's doing, which I can't be at everything with my job, my family, things like that. So Coach Lunt, it's nice that I don't have to worry about him, or Coach Hellstrom. Coach Hellstrom was a head coach for a high school for 5 years. He's got great assistant coaching experience also. Coach Willis has been a head college coach. You know, I was a head college coach for 1 varsity game when I was coaching at Southern Oregon University. So technically I'm 1-0 as a head varsity college basketball coach. Our head coach ran 1 game, had to serve a game suspension. So I got to coach that game, and we won. They didn't give me the full-time job. No, I'm just joking. Coach Mack, my head coach, one of my mentors, really good guy. Rest in peace, Coach Mack. Gave me an opportunity as a 25-year-old to be a college coach, and lost a battle with cancer. So he is a great man, was a great man. Think very highly of Coach Mack down there at Southern Oregon. He was the coach down there for 27 years, impacted a lot of men, Boys to Men. You guys probably never heard of the music group Boys to Men. But if you don't know, it's an R&B group from the early 2000s. But literally, my favorite part of coaching has always been boys to men. Seeing high school boys, and I was a college coach at Southern Oregon for 5 years, Warner Pacific, but high school boys to men. I got invited to 3 weddings last summer of former players. Those are the things that really matter to me as your guys' coach, is seeing you guys turn from boys, because most of you guys don't have to shave every day yet. You're still kind of have those baby faces, not pointing fingers to anybody calling you guys baby faced or anything like that. But you guys are going to be bigger and stronger when you're a man. So you're kind of on that boys to young men. That would have been a worse music group name, boys to young men to men. But that's kind of what it is. You come to college, you're a young man. We're trying to help you guys be better leaders. That's one of Coach Lunt's big things, is developing leaders. So everybody's going to have to speak up. Everybody's going to have to be able to speak in front of the group and not speak with confidence. But yeah, being a leader is really important in this program. It's not like we're going to say you can't lead or you have to lead. We want everybody to step up and show their leadership and get better, because that's part of being a man. And we want you guys to be good men. I want you guys to be good basketball players. But in the end, it's bigger than that for me. And like I always say, am I a good coach? Ask me 10 years from now, when you guys are husbands or fathers or businessmen, owning your own business, then I'll know if I'm a good coach. That's how I value coaching. Wins and losses, I don't hang my hat on wins and losses. Let's not get it twisted. I want to win, right? But I really worry about the inputs and what we're doing for process over results. Results will come, but we're about process oriented, not outcome driven, right? That's why we're playing hard and playing together, and the results will come. But I think that's something that's way more important to me, is being a good husband, a good father. I have 2 kids, 2 really cute kids, by the way. You'll get to see them at some of the games, but I have 2 kids, and I'd rather be a good husband and a good father than a good basketball anything. I want to be known and remembered for being passionate. That's something one of my core values is passion, but being a good husband and father, those things will matter to me more than how many wins and losses. My resume, I don't include the wins and losses, and I have won a lot more than I've lost. It's just usually at the end of my experience in a school, we've won more. So my experience at Southern Oregon, we went from 9th my first year. It was really crappy because we lost a lot. We went from 9th to 7th to 5th to 3rd. My last year, we had Tim Weber, shout out Roseburg, Asher. He was a second team All-American, had 4 triple doubles, 8.5 assists a game as a 6'8" point guard that played for my AAU team, and then came to Southern Oregon. So getting better is what it's about. Not get rich quick, not microwave mentality, but process. More like a crock pot than a microwave. You guys got a lot of good stuff in this meeting. I know just thinking about that visual of the sponge dipped in water that Jacob talked about. Coach Bolger was explaining to you guys about how it's okay. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be a little upset when you miss a shot. I get it. You want to make every shot you shoot. If you don't think you're going to make it, don't shoot it, first off. If you're shooting a shot that you don't think you're going to make, I don't want you shooting that shot. So don't act surprised if it goes in. But if you do miss, you got to just get out of the bucket. You got to get your head back right. So think about that. Think about the stuff that we talked about. Like I said, when we announce teams and select the final teams, you guys will have a notebook with you when we have these meetings, because I don't want you missing out on some of the stuff that we're talking about. You think you'll remember it, but then I do ramble sometimes. I do talk quick sometimes, so you might miss things, but we do record these calls and post them. But I want you guys to think about the visuals and some of the stuff that we talked about and how we can all get better, because we are all in this together. Some of you guys are coming from different places, whether that's a freshman at a 5A school, or if you're a 6A varsity starter. Guys are coming from different levels, different backgrounds. But when we get the team selected, we will do everything we can to make it one program. Caleb did a great job last night knowing people's names. That's why we call names when we make passes. We want this to be a good experience and to get you guys better. I'll say that again, experience and development. Experience and development. And I know some of you guys are still shopping around. Well, this coach is selling exposure. This coach says we're playing on this circuit. This coach says that we're going to have 100 D1 coaches at our games. That's not what we're about. We're about development and experience, getting you guys better as people and players and providing a positive experience. Obviously, having college coaches as your coaches will give you exposure if you're at that level. And we're going to help you. You know, Asher and I are going to talk again soon, but it's not just you have to come to Pacific, right? Because that's where Coach Lunt coaches. No, we're going to try to help you find the right fit. If that's a D1, that'd be awesome. I've coached D1 guys on my club teams. I've coached really good NAIA players. And I know how hard it is to play NAIA basketball. So there's coaches saying if you play for us, we'll get you D1 looks. And I feel like it's a lot more important to find the right fit than just the highest level, because NAIA is really high level basketball. So Jacob just dropped in the chat. If you guys have your phones with you, if you're on your phone, you can go off camera for a second. Everybody grab Jacob's phone number. So if you guys, that's why I like this kid a lot, that he's willing to give you guys his number. Not kid, young man. Jacob does have to shave every day, or probably should, because he's got a little bit of scruff there. But no, Jacob, proud of you, man, for the young man that you've become. And definitely, I'm excited about this group. I'm excited about the guys that have already committed. I'm looking forward to talking to the guys that haven't made a decision yet. And we will wrap it up now. I know I said I was only going to be about 30 minutes, and we're at 42 after. But I appreciate you guys being here. I want you to know that I do the best I can to show my gratitude. But yeah, there is a lot of choices out there in Portland for club basketball scene. So I do appreciate you guys that are in our program, and even the guys that are just looking around. Appreciate you at least strolling through the meeting tonight. We'll be in touch with you guys, but let's go Grit. And Jacob, I'm gonna let you sound off, and then I'll stop the recording, and we will see you guys Sunday. We will have another Zoom call on Sunday. Jacob, the Madman Bolger.
Yeah, I'm a little bit crazy, and I do have to shave every day. I still like to think of myself as a kid. My old teammates would call me Grandpa. That's unfortunate. Everyone gets to that age, though. Just a few closing words. I think a lot of, from my experience when I was playing AAU, a lot of coaches always like to talk about, like how Coach Miner was saying, oh, we'll give you this. We're playing on this circuit. There's this many coaches who are coming to watch us. It's all crap. None of that's real, right? You get coaches coming to watch you by performing, and we're going to put you in positions to find those coaches. It's the connections that you make and the conversations that you have with college coaches, and the conversations that we can have with our connections with other college coaches to get you where you want to go. So you have Coach Lunt and Coach Miner and Coach Hellstrom and Coach Willis. All these guys know college coaches all over the place, all over Oregon, all over the West Coast, all over the East Coast, I'm sure, all over the United States, period. So we got great outlets. The goal is for us to develop. We also want to see you succeed in whatever you want to succeed in. So if that means getting a scholarship, if that's your goal, guess who's going to help you to get to that goal? That's us. That's our goal, is to make y'all achieve your goals. And so Grit's where if our message it sounds good to you, we want to have you here. We want to see you get better. We want to help you succeed because your success is our success. And yeah, hit me up if you have any questions about anything. I know the recruiting landscape from a player's perspective because I did it 5 years ago. I can help you with whatever you need any time of the day, any day of the week. Just let me know. I got y'all. So we appreciate y'all being here. Your time means everything to us. So we appreciate it.
Jacob Bolger is good to know. GTK, good to know. He's good to know. That's about all I got to say with that. We'll wrap it up. But yeah, definitely, you guys, thanks again, and go Grit. It is now stopped.